Welcome to the PHNX Coyotes podcast, brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill here with Steve Peters and Craig Morgan. Happy Monday. It's Memorial Day. It's a long weekend. We haven't been remote in a while. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good weekend.
I should have made more coffee, but oh well.
Good.
No Steve's grumpy.
Well, I'm still grumpy.
Steve.
I don't have the coffee. But did anybody, before we get into hockey talk, did anybody happen to take me up on the softball viewing for the weekend?
Yeah.
So I tried to stream it on my computer and it wasn't working for some reason. But luckily I was able to tune into the PHNX Sun Devils Twitter and post-game shows. So always entertaining.
By the way, those guys, if you're not watching that show, why the hell not? That post-game show they did Saturday night, I did not see last night's post-game show because it was sad. Saturday night's post-game show was absolutely fire electric. It was midnight, and they had a few cocktails, and it was a really good show. And for ASU softball, I tell you what, it's tough. It's a tough loss, and feel bad for those girls. They competed hard. They ran into a really solid pitcher, and unfortunately, they lost the weekend
series.
What,
a 5-0 lead in that game, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had leads in every single game, and you had a 5-0 lead in the third inning. It's too bad they just couldn't hold on.
You gotta close that out. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they'll be sitting this one out. But the U of A Wildcats are heading to the Women's World Series next weekend and facing Oklahoma State. Who are they? I think so.
You know, it's interesting too that they got U of A got an easier draw in the Super Regional than ASU, and there was some controversy about that since ASU won the conference. And I know they look at overall RPI and those things, but it's a little bit of controversy there because Northwestern is a really good team. They've got, as you mentioned, a terrific pitcher. So that was a really tough draw for them to get in the Super Regional.
Thank you to everyone who's joining us on this Monday morning. Nicholas said it's the first live show I've been able to catch in a while. Been moving over the last few weeks, and your podcasts have been keeping me company over that time. Absolutely love all you do. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, everyone who's here joining us. We appreciate you. Another team that could have closed it out over the weekend and didn't was the Carolina Hurricanes, which we'll get to a little bit later. But we're going to preview the third round of the NHL playoffs. Even though we don't quite know the matchup in the East yet, we'll hypothetically preview both potential matchups. But it's conference finals week. Here we go. We're getting to the end. The NBA is in their finals. It's getting down to it here in the NHL playoffs. So excited. AJ's here writing his series preview while listening to us. Hopefully, maybe we'll give you some tidbits, AJ, that you can throw in your series preview, because we'll be previewing the Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers.
Don't count on it though, AJ. We probably won't give you any good material.
No. He's probably like, yeah, I know that already. So should we just dive right into it then?
Sure.
Let's first talk about, before we preview the Avalanche and the Oilers series, can we just talk about the last 5 seconds of that game on Friday night between the Colorado Avalanche and the St. Louis Blues? Because we haven't talked about that yet and how thrilling that was.
I tell you what, this is the second game, and it happened earlier in the series in the last round where someone lost a game in the winding seconds to Tampa. You can't take your foot off the gas. I know everybody's thinking overtime. You just are. How do you get from behind your net to a puck in the goal in 10 seconds? How does that happen? I don't know. I don't know how that happens, but give it up for Colorado. It's exciting.
They didn't defend the rush very well on that.
No, because I think in your mind, you're thinking overtime.
Yeah.
You're going, okay, well, it's 10 seconds left. He's behind his net. Okay, we're fine. What are we going to do in overtime? Oh no, I'm going to get nervous already. Or when am I going to get a shift? And no, shit, it's over, buddy. It's over. I think everybody was stunned that it was over, and we all watched the footage from DNVR bar when that went in, and it's
unbelievable.
In the live show, watching Rudy, that's a bad pass. Well, and it's over. Like, he was complaining about the pass because he thought the pass was going to the forward in front of where Helm was. He didn't see Helm coming up in behind. So anyway, incredibly exciting. Colorado is a team that's been struggling to get over the second round hump for years, and for a moment you thought that they were going to go right back face the same fate this year, and they're not. So they're heading to the Western Finals. Good on them. Look out, because they're rolling now.
Yep. So the Western Conference Final, it's the battle of the Max, the McKinnon and McDavid matchup. Also the battle of former Arizona Coyotes goaltenders Mike Smith and Darcy Kuemper. Who would have thought? Not me. But it's going to be an exciting matchup. That game kicks off tomorrow night. And of course, former Coyotes Mike Smith and Darcy Kuemper, like we said, but also Derek Brassard and Josh Archibald on the Oilers as well. Edmonton coming into this series beat Calgary in 5 games. McDavid and Draisaitl lead the postseason with 26 points. Evander Kane leads the postseason with 12 goals. Mike Smith leads the postseason with 2 shutouts. So it's clicking for the Edmonton Oilers. Right now, of course, Colorado beat St. Louis in 6, and McKinnon leads that team with 8 goals. What do you got on this matchup?
Just excited to see marquee players. Connor McDavid going against Nathan McKinnon, obviously, but there's some, I mean, both these teams have some high end skill. Obviously, Leon Draisaitl and Mikko Rantanen come to mind. Cale Makar is probably already climbed into that stratosphere of player. He's just been so good down the stretch here and in the playoffs. There's a lot of high draft picks in this series. I think Colorado has more of them. They have more talent, I think, overall than the Edmonton Oilers do. But the way Connor McDavid is playing right now, don't sleep on the Oilers, because he's taking it to another level. He's taking it right now. He's playing at a level beyond even Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah, what I question, and I don't know, is this is the 3rd round in a row where I'm going to say the Edmonton Oilers are going to lose. We'll start with that sentence. And clearly, I've been wrong. But I still look at the problems that I think that the Edmonton Oilers have and had during the 1-3-82 regular season are the same problems they have in the playoffs. It's just no one's been able to solve their high-end talent. McDavid, Kane, Draisaitl have been literally unstoppable by their first 2 opponents. Will that be the case here? This team's better. Colorado's better than the teams they've faced. They're built differently than what Calgary was built. And you look at Calgary's talent, you talk about Mangiapane, you talk about Johnny Hockey. They are not Landeskog and McKinnon. No, these are big, strong, physical men that can drive the net. Calgary's got physical players, but Calgary's skill is smaller skill. Even Tkachuk isn't. He didn't make himself known in this series like I thought he would in front of the net. Colorado's skill is not only fast and incredibly high-end skill. They are big boys. They are physical presence. They can push you around. They can play that style too. I don't know if Edmonton has faced that yet. And the other thing Colorado has is their depth. I think Colorado has the ability to roll lines more, and their back end clearly is better than any back end that they've played so far, that Edmonton's played so far in this series. Right? Yeah, even without Sam Girard, their defense in Colorado is deeper and better. So, I mean, you look at the high-end players. If I'm Colorado, I have one mission and one mission only, and that is to stop McDavid. I don't care if you literally play peewee hockey and you attach yourself to him physically. Just get on him, stay with him, shadow him. You don't see shadowing anymore. You see it back in the 80s some, but you don't see it. You have to keep McDavid off the score sheet, period. And if you keep him off the score sheet, you're more than likely keeping Draisaitl off the score sheet. And if you can do that, then win the rest of the game. Even if McDavid plays 25 minutes, then you just need to win the other 38, 32, whatever he doesn't play. You just need to win that. So to me, it's if you can shut down McDavid, you can win the series.
Absolutely. And don't sleep on Draisaitl as well. If you look at the last 5 games, Draisaitl has 17 points. 17, 15 assists. That's unbelievable. So like you said, Petey, it's the 2-headed monster there with those 2. And Renegade Man in the comments said, don't forget about Hyman. What a clutch player. Hyman has 6 goals in the last 5 games. He's been unbelievable. It's been clicking for him in Edmonton. I can't wait for this series. There's so much star power. There's so much firepower. And I just don't even know what I think. I think this series is going to go a lot of games.
I don't know. I don't. And what about the goaltending? So we look at the goaltending, 2 former Coyotes head-to-head. You look at Darcy Kuemper and Mike Smith. But let's start there. Look at Craig. Where's the goalie matchup in this one?
I don't know. What are we going to get from Mike Smith? Which Mike Smith is good? I mean, he's given up some. He's had some poor performances. He's given up some god awful goals, but he has battled, and his numbers overall are still good. He's been able to bounce back from those moments, and that's probably experience working in his favor. But overall, Mike Smith has been pretty darn good in this postseason. I don't think we've seen the best from Darcy Kuemper either. I mean, he's had moments himself, but I don't think Darcy Kuemper has really been a game-changing goaltender. And as you get deeper into the playoffs, you're probably going to need to see some of those performances from Kuemper. So I really don't know how to handicap this goaltending matchup right now.
Well, you go to the save percentage, Mike Smith wins. And, but to your point, boy, there's been some of those goals that he's let in that shockingly bad. I mean, game 1, there were some throughout this series. The one thing that Mike Smith was able to do, especially against Calgary in the first 3 games, is he was able to take control of the offense for the Edmonton Oilers and getting out of their zone. I was surprised that Calgary didn't adjust quicker to dumping the pucks away from Mike Smith or attempting to carry the pucks in. They allowed Mike Smith to break the puck out much too quickly and easily for Edmonton and put him on the offensive side of the puck early. If I'm Colorado, you look at how they're built. Colorado is able to enter the zone with possession. It's a team that has the skilled forwards and can get pucks through the neutral zone with possession. So maybe Mike Smith doesn't get as many touches on Edmonton's breakout, and I think that favors Colorado. And if they do have to dump it in, let's hope, as you're watching these first games and Tuesday's game 1, is that they dump to the cross corner. They put it to an area where Mike Smith can't get it. And we know as Coyote fans, Mike Smith gets to pucks that you think he can't, because he will go out to places he probably shouldn't. The less he handles, the more he wants to handle. And that's going to be a key for me in this series, is how quickly they are able to adjust and keep the puck away from Mike Smith, because I think that puts the favor into Colorado. Having said that, Darcy Kuemper hasn't been very good either. And I mean, he's made a few outstanding saves, which I said he had to do, but you go look at the goals that he was giving up against St. Louis, and you're like, God, you got to have that. Got to have that. And the one that game 5, the one that sent it back to St. Louis, you're like, oh, geez, got to have that one. They can't be going against Connor McDavid going, oh, geez, you should have had that one, because their opportunities by those high-end skilled players are going to be elite chances, and you can't go, ooh, should have had that one.
I'm curious about matchups in this one. Petey, who do you throw at Connor McDavid? How do you try to contain him?
Well, the problem, especially, in half of the games, everybody's going to have to take a bite on him, because anytime there's a face-off in your defensive zone, whether it's an icing, God forbid your fourth line group gets left out there on an icing, because Connor McDavid's coming over the boards. So it has to be a team defending. We'd always try to assign two lines. You're going to get the bulk of McDavid. You're going to get more. If you try to match them line for line, even at home, you get predisposed focus on that. And that's all you're thinking about as a coach and a coaching staff on the bench. Oh shit, when's McDavid out? I got to get that line against McDavid. So you've got to prepare your entire front 12 forwards to being able to defend McDavid, but you'll get your top 2 lines defending him. Now, do you go put McKinnon right against him head to head? Let's go speed for speed, power for power. I don't, it'll be interesting. I think you'll see it during the series, and those 2 head to head could be really interesting, because they're both very, very, very competitive players.
You have to imagine home ice advantage will play a role in this series then when it comes to line matching. And I think that game 1 is going to be kind of a test situation to see how the teams do match up against each other, because I think there's a lot of really interesting scenarios. Another thing I was just pulling up while you were talking was shots on goal. And we talk about Darcy Kuemper, and one of the things that made him stand out in Arizona was that he was facing so many shots a night, and he really performed. Looking back at the last 3 or 4 Avalanche Blues games, the Avalanche outshot the Blues in every single game. So Darcy Kuemper wasn't facing as many shots. Looking at the Oilers and Flame series, it was, back and forth, but the Oilers did have a high shot output. So maybe is that something that will play in Colorado's favor for Darcy Kuemper to possibly face more shots and have him kind of get in his groove in that situation? I don't know. That's another thing to look at.
Yeah, he's been a goalie who does seem to excel with high shot volumes. It's an interesting point where he can get into the game. I'm not sure he's that guy that, faced 23 shots in a game and he's going to be as sharp as maybe he'd be otherwise, but maybe he can prove us wrong. I have no idea what to expect from this goaltending matchup. Could we see, Mike Smith reprise what he did in Arizona in 2012 and take it to another level now that he's this close? I don't know. I'm really fascinated by that matchup. Another thing that I'm really looking at, and I don't want to dive too deeply on just one player, but losing Sam Girard, I look at Jack Johnson. To me, he's an Achilles heel on this Colorado Avalanche team right now. He's not a good defensive defenseman. We saw some errors from him. We talked about on the previous show that weakens their blue line. So you got to figure out a way to hide him, but still get him meaningful minutes because you're going to have to split the minutes up with these guys. I like the Bowen Byram Eric Johnson combo, but Jack Johnson to me he's not a very good defenseman anymore. So losing Sam Girard could be a tough blow for Colorado in this series against such a high octane offense.
Well, when you talk about a defensive tandem too, and you talk about Johnson's ability versus Sam Girard and the mobility and the ability to skate, and you're talking about this series being built on speed, that's Sam Girard. I mean, that's the kind of game he can provide and he can keep up with and defend a player like McDavid, Kane, Draisaitl because he's quick enough. Eric Johnson isn't that quick anymore. I mean, he's never been a fleet of foot. Hey, look at his speed. Caused him problems in the last round. His ability, his quick feet or lack thereof caused him problems in the defensive zone, and his ability to box out and be able to do those things around the net that this Edmonton Oilers team is going to be able to provide. The concern then is when you get to Edmonton and you're Jay Woodcroft and you see Eric Johnson hit the ice, man, 97's up. Like, go, you're on. Let's just change lines. We want you out there against Eric Johnson. So I think that
from the lineup. Do you pull him and replace him with a Ryan Murray or someone else? Do you take him out of the lineup?
That's what the comments seem to think.
Oh, sorry.
Ryan Murray hasn't played enough, though, has he? Like, I think head-to-head, Murray's always been an injury problem guy that's just never provides you enough. I guess the more experienced player is Johnson. This series is about speed. Johnson doesn't have any.
Yeah. This series also has... Sorry, Petey.
No, it's just it's. Do you make an adjustment now? I would not be surprised. I think game one, they're going with what they got, what got you there. I think you'll see Eric Johnson in game one, and you can adjust from there. I think it's more difficult to make the change in game one and then go back. Jack Johnson, I'm sorry, instead of going back to him. So I anticipate he will start game one with the same lineup that you saw to defeat the St. Louis Blues on the road, and then make adjustments from there.
This series also has so many first-round draft picks in it. So many. Craig wrote them all down. Craig, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. I mentioned them, but like number one overall picks, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in 2011, Nathan McKinnon in 2013, and of course, Connor McDavid in that painful 2015 draft that Coyotes fans remember well. Number 3 overall, Leon Draisaitl in 2014. Cale Makar, number 4 overall in 2017. I could start picking out others as well, but there's just so much high-end talent that was expected to be high-end talent. And by the way, the one guy in there that isn't getting the same attention, probably doesn't deserve the same attention, but lately has played really well, is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is really giving the Oilers a lot in this postseason. He's had a terrific playoff. So, I mean, we talk about high-end players for Colorado, and I still think the Avalanche have more, but there have been guys that have stepped up for Edmonton without question. And we mentioned Evander Kane on a previous show. They're getting enough contributions. They're getting enough balanced scoring where they can get this done.
So what are your predictions?
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing I've done the first 2 rounds. I am going to bet against the Edmonton Oilers again. I'm going to take the Colorado Avalanche in this one. I think they're too deep, too strong, too offensively gifted. I think they have too many weapons that are going to give difficulties to Mike Smith. I think their skill is going to crash the net. I think Kadri is going to cause Mike Smith problems in the blue paint. I think that is going to be an issue that they haven't had to face so far in this series, other than the Milan Lucic bump, which is what for theatrics' sake caused Smith to get it into the wall. But I'm taking the Colorado Avalanche in this one, and I'm going to say that it's going to take them Can they win games? 6. Colorado
Craig.
Avalanche in 6.
That's what my heart's telling me too. Colorado in 6. I really feel like Connor McDavid's playing at such a level right now that's right. Somebody reminded me that Eric Johnson is also a number 1.
Jack Johnson was a 3rd pick.
I didn't go back to the aughts of 2000. Yeah, there are more of them. And I said we could name more if we keep going down the list. There's a ton of high draft picks in this series. I do feel like Colorado is the better team. I think Colorado. I give the Colorado Avalanche the edge at really every position group, but Connor McDavid is going to find a way to get this team. And I shouldn't discount Leon Draisaitl. He's having a great postseason. It's just McDavid's on another level than anyone else right now. I feel like he's going to find a way to get the Oilers a couple wins, but I think Colorado got over the hump by winning that last series with St. Louis, which, by the way, I think the Blues are a better team than the Oilers as well. So I feel like Colorado proved it right then and there. They're going to get to the Cup final, and we might just get to see I might be tipping my hand here, but we might get to see Colorado Tampa in a Cup final, which would be really cool.
That would be really cool. I want to pick Colorado too, but it makes me nervous when the 3 of us are unanimous because we've been so wrong.
We suck at this.
We've been so wrong. I'm curious what the chat thinks. Who do you think is going to win this series, and for fun, and how many games? Let us know. I pulled up the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now, so the line's already out for tomorrow right now because Colorado is the home team. They're minus 175 favorites. The Oilers money line is plus 150. So you can dabble on that. And here's a number that really stands out to me. The over-under is set at 7 on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. That's high.
That's very high.
On the flip side, the game tonight between the Rangers and the Hurricanes, the over-under set at 5. So Vegas always knows things that...
I want to see it. I want to see a high-scoring series. There's so much fun. I just want to see high octane. Let's go. Just rushes. Lots of offense. Let's do it. Let's just have a high-paced series. It's so much fun to watch.
Zach says Avs in 6. They're too deep and too good defensively. AJ says Avs in 4.
AJ. See, we needed AJ on this part because they know.
AJ, did you mean to type Holla in caps or Homer in caps?
Charles,
we should have him on because they know the strengths of this team and how deep this team is. And I talked to Rudo before the game 6 in St. Louis, and Rudo said, "Don't worry, Colorado's going to win tonight." And he wasn't phased at all. He said, "Yeah, they're going to win." And I don't think he knew they're going to win with under 10 seconds to go. But
Charles says Colorado in 6. Comadiazo says Avs in 4. 40 goals scored total. Holy crap!
Wow. Renegade, that's not happening.
Renegade.
Oh, we got another
7.
Renegade.
Look at that. And
I like it.
Casey said if Alex Newhook isn't a regular in the series, that's a problem. And Burakovsky and Kuemper are fine on the 3rd line. I feel like we got some Avalanche fans in here. So
yeah, but Burakovsky's got some
PHNX
speed.
Locker
One of the
podcast.
things I think you're going to see a lot of the Burakovsky Kuemper. I think they can defend. I think they've got the foot speed to keep up. So I wouldn't be surprised. And that's why I talked about more than one line taking McDavid. I don't see any problems with the top 3 lines of Colorado getting a bite out of Connor McDavid. And that's why I think they'll ultimately win the series.
Did you see Nick's comment?
Yeah.
I did not.
Yeah, we agree. You guys have predictions.
Not untrue.
So you
what's your record right now?
I suck. Edmonton, I didn't pick winning. I did pick Colorado, and I did not pick Tampa. I said Florida was going to wake up. Tampa had been done.
I think I picked Colorado, but we'll see what happens tonight. I picked Carolina. So
I picked Carolina also.
If Carolina wins, we'll be 50%. If they lose, we're 25%.
The second round.
Yeah.
We did go 6-2 in the first round.
Yeah, we did pretty well in the first round.
I was 5-3. 5-3.
Craig and I were 6-2.
I had LA beating Edmonton. How's that looking right now? That was 7 games.
Everybody take what we say with a grain of salt. If you want to bet on tonight's game, tomorrow night's game, you can also bet on series outcomes on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So be sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. It's a great time with the NHL playoffs going on, the NBA playoffs going on, the WHL playoffs going on. And by the way, yet another DraftKings pick of the week has hit. The Oil Kings got it done, won their series against the Winnipeg Ice. Dylan Guenther is moving on in the postseason. Sean is on fire with his picks of the week on our show. So be sure to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today as my street racers make their long-awaited appearance. It's been a while since we've heard from them. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, and new customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets if they do. And right now, all customers can place a same-game parlay with 3 or more legs and get a free bet back up to $25 if one leg doesn't hit. That's DraftKings Sportsbook app with the promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game, get $150 in free bets if they do. That's 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for more details. Craig got a text from Dylan Guenther.
Not finished. Those were his words. Not finished.
Wow.
Love it.
Going for the WHL title and maybe a Memorial Cup berth. Such a experience. I hope he gets to have it this year.
That's so exciting. Everyone is saying hello to the street racers. It's been a while. It really feels like it's been a while since we've heard from them.
We talked about the Colorado presence and the DNVR presence in the chat potentially today, and there was an all-city shout out. I will say this. If you haven't, again, and if you're not a DNVR listener and watcher, you do need to check out the Twitter on that particular night and the vibe at the DNVR bar.
Oh my God.
It is nothing like, we've all been to sports bars. We all love sports bars. But when you go to a sports bar, I went to one for lunch yesterday. I had my TV on and I was watching my TV, and the table next to me had their TV on. They were watching something different. When you go to an all-city bar, you're there with hundreds of people. You might be in a table for 2, but you're there with everybody, and the camaraderie in that group, singing along, cheering along, standing on chairs and screaming at the television set. It is as close to being to the game, but maybe better because you get chicken wings and beer. So I am so excited, and it was a kind of a preview. That one tweet that they had where they actually won it, and the hugging and jumping and tears and all of those things. I am so excited. Fast forwarding 4 or 5 years into the future at the PHNX bar, and we get to do the same damn thing. Like, I am so excited to see that kind of a vibe. And it's not going to a sports bar and we're watching the game. You're going to the game with everybody. You were encouraged to cheer and high five the table next to you. It's a different vibe than a sports bar. I'm telling you, it's different. And the best part is then Craig Lee and I can drink, and then we can go do the show right there from the bar. So yes, please, soon. Thank you. Sorry.
AJ, if you're still on, can you apply some pressure to get that PHNX bar built a little sooner?
Oh, you guys, I'm in the office every day, and they're working on it. It's happening. It's going to happen.
Let's get that bar built.
Yeah, get it built.
All right. Well, let's move to the East. And again, we don't know the exact matchup, so we're going to preview both. Obviously, we know the Tampa Bay Lightning are in, and it could potentially be against the Carolina Hurricanes or the New York Rangers in the East. Tampa, of course, swept the President's Trophy winning Florida Panthers. They have not played a game since Monday, May 23rd, and they'll play game 1 Wednesday, either in Raleigh or New York City. Probably stressful not knowing exactly who they're going to be playing. For the Lightning, Kucherov leads the team in points, and then some names that I don't think we would have predicted for the goal leaders on this team. Ross Colton and Corey Perry tied for 5 goals each to lead the Lightning, and Vasilevsky has been lights out in the playoffs, 2.22 goals against average and a .932 save percentage. What do you think the better matchup for Tampa Bay is?
For them?
For Tampa.
Who do you think Tampa wants to play?
Probably the
It's
Rangers.
hard. Because you look, and I wouldn't want to have to play Carolina's smothering defense. You'd have to play it on the road for a team that hasn't lost in Carolina yet in this playoffs. You have to play 4 of the 7 games in Carolina. The Rangers rely heavily on Shesterkin. There are some holes in their game that I think maybe you want to get in a foot race with Kreider and Zibanejad. Yeah, we can do that. You want to get in a power play battle? We can do that. We got Stamkos, we got Hedman. We can do that too. So I think they'd probably be more comfortable in the New York Rangers series. Carolina, It's two different teams. If you have the home ice advantage against Carolina, take them because they suck on the road. And I mean, you look at their numbers, home versus road, it's so drastically different. I've never seen a team have statistics that were that different home versus road. It is unbelievable how much different these two teams are. So if I'm betting, yeah, I think they'd rather play the Rangers, but then you take other things into account. You talk about travel. The Carolina series, it's an hour and 20-minute flight. It's an easy to get in and out of Carolina. There's some things to be said for that. Getting into New York City and playing in that environment and Madison Square Garden is hard.
Yeah, I don't think that's interesting. The travel aspect of it, because where are they flying? They're probably flying into Newark, right?
Newark, yeah.
I think Newark. Through the bus, through the tunnel. Yeah, it's a bit of a hassle actually getting into Manhattan and getting to your hotel, and then even on game days getting to MSG.
To the rink.
Yeah,
getting to MSG versus getting to the arena in Raleigh, or you might have to have your bus go through a few people tailgating with their little stand-up grill in Carolina, but you don't have to battle people down 8th and 33rd trying to get to Madison Square Garden. Like, people that don't give a shit that you're a hockey player. Like, okay, I got to get these clothes down the street. Like, get the hell out of the way. So there is so many more things to deal with playing in New York City than just the game itself. There's a lot of outside noise. There's a lot of other things going on in New York City. I'm not saying that that's going to dissuade or be a problem for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've been in every situation in every city.
Well, the last conference final was against the Islanders, so it was, similar.
So it's the same, except that was in, wasn't that in? Oh, that was in. Yeah, those they had fans. I forget. I never forget which one's in the bubble, which one's in the fans.
It was post-bubble. It was last year.
Fans.
Yeah. Well, before we get there, we have to, of course, get through tonight's Game 7, which, by the way, it's the 6th Game 7 of these playoffs, which is one shy of the most in a single postseason.
Seriously,
fun fact. Home teams are 6-0 in the series, so you would have to imagine. This is my point of view. You'd have to imagine that Carolina pulls this one out. They've also played in 6 consecutive Game 7s and won every single one. So the stats are favoring the Hurricanes, but we'll see, because it's just been a tale of two different teams based on whether they're home or away. This is the Rangers' third postseason in which they've won 4+ games facing elimination. So the Rangers know how to step up in elimination games. And lucky for Carolina, this game's at home since they've not won on the road once this postseason. And they hold an all-time series record of 9-0 when leading 3-2 in a best-of-7. So there's some stats in Carolina's favor.
Carolina, we talked about Carolina not winning on the road. So you go, okay, well, they must suck on the road. They had 25 road wins this year. Like, it's their franchise-setting record road team during the regular season in the history of the Carolina Hurricanes. They won their last 4 road games leading up to the playoffs, won all of them, including games in New York and in Long Island. What the hell happened? What happened? It's just
bizarre.
I'm doing a lot of research on this particular series, and you watch how the Carolina Hurricanes defend. And one of the things to look for when you watch this game tonight is look how New York gets the puck between the blue lines. Can they get from their defensive zone into Carolina's offensive zone possessing the puck? Carolina at home is phenomenal between the blue lines. Their neutral zone forecheck is smothering. There is no room. Rangers can't get on the rush. They can't get outnumbered rushes. Can't get the puck through the blues. They turn it over. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable to watch them operate in the neutral zone. They went to New York yesterday. It's 3-on-2s. It's 2-on-1s. I just can't explain how different these two teams are. If Carolina plays the way they've been playing at home, push goes to Carolina unless Shesterkin makes 45 saves. But he can. So this. I wish I knew. I wish I knew who was going to win this game. I wish we could plan ahead and start predicting our New York Tampa or Carolina Tampa series. But I don't know. Where am I going? I am giving the slight edge to the hometown Carolina Hurricanes. I think they go all the way for the first 2 rounds, winning every game at home and losing every game on the road. And I think Carolina wins tonight. And I think they get an empty netter, and I pick them by 2 goals tonight. I'll say 4-2 at home.
Petey, has ESPN Stats and Info put out anything on a team going unbeaten at home and winless on the road in the playoffs? I'm curious what the most extreme example is. I may reach out to NHL Stats if you guys don't have it.
Not through. They've gone through this particular 2 rounds, but nothing looking forward. So okay. I don't know how deep. And it has happened to this point before. I don't know how many times.
Through 2 rounds, a team has gone unbeaten at home and winless on the road?
I think it's happened a few times. The answer
Okay.
is yes. That's that actually, but they were just talking about it, so it'll be on the broadcast tonight.
Beautiful.
I mean, lucky for Carolina, it's a home game 7, and they're undefeated at home. So we'll see what happens tonight. Currently on DraftKings, they're favored minus 145 money line. Rangers are plus 125. Petey, would you then want to bet the puck line since you predicted a 4-2?
What was the puck line plus?
The puck line for the Hurricanes is plus 170.
I think there's going to be an empty net Jesus today. I think there is going to be. It's going to be tight, and I tell you what, even if it's 3-1, they're still going to pull the goalie. This could end up 5-1.
Wow.
It could be just because you're going to have to pull the goalie no matter how many. It's game 7. Like you could give up 3 empty netters. It's. Having said that, it could be a 5 overtime game. We could be sitting here at 2 a.m. and the Rangers could win. Like Shesterkin is good enough to win this game. One game on his own.
That's what I wonder about. I agreed. Like you got to the game 7, and now. If your goalie can be that goalie we saw in the regular season, hell, Carolina could fire 50 shots at
100%.
him. Lose
they could outshoot him 50-10 and still they could. Yeah. They could because Antti Ranta versus Shesterkin head-to-head, both playing their best. Shesterkin's better. Yep. So it could happen. I still think Carolina is going to find a way to get over in front of their home crowds, and I think Carolina wins.
Does either team have a shot against the Lightning, the way the Lightning's playing right now?
I don't think anything's phasing the Lightning right now.
Either.
So that was going to be my next question. Let's do both scenarios and what our predictions would be for both.
Before we do that, Leah,
what?
I said Carolina's going to win tonight, so you can go ahead and book your flights to New York because that's where game 1 is going to be on Wednesday. Because I said Carolina, so I'm just throwing that out there. Sorry.
You're the one who needs to book your flight, PD.
I know.
Literally.
Yeah.
What was
Leah
that?
Some of it. I'm flying somewhere else this week. Leah gave part of it away, but she hasn't given my exact location away yet. So
I will be releasing the exact coordinates once you're out of cell service.
We should. That's actually brilliant.
You guys are going to chart me, right? You're going to chart me on my drive.
We should. You're in some remote cabin in the bush somewhere, and you just see you standing on top of a mountain, tree-covered mountain, trying to get service for the tent.
With a hanger.
Yeah, I can just see it. Get your aluminum foil hat on, reaching up. Oh, where's Tempe? Where's Tempe?
Oh my gosh.
Could be happening.
Oh my gosh. Caleb said 5,200 followers for Craig's trip address. Oh man.
Yeah, well, actually, maybe it's 6,000. He'll take a vacation with you. Is that like the Griswolds?
If you want to guarantee a major Coyotes thing to happen, then you can do that. We'll get to more about later this week in a minute, but let's do predictions. Let's do a Rangers Lightning prediction. For me, I don't think the Rangers, I think, are just not built for the Stanley Cup final this year. I think the Lightning, ever since they beat Toronto in game 7, there's no stopping them. So in a potential Rangers Lightning matchup, I'm picking the Lightning in 5 games.
Ooh, 5 games.
In that matchup, I'm taking the Lightning in 6.
That's what I'm taking too. Lightning in 6.
Okay. And then a Lightning Hurricanes series. And this one for me is a little bit harder.
Carolina's a home team if that happens. Yeah. Well, the Rangers are a home team if that happens also. Oh boy. If it's Carolina Tampa, and I said Carolina would win tonight, so we're predicting the Rangers will be playing Tampa on Wednesday. But with Carolina Tampa, 2 teams know each other extremely well. I would have to say this is going to go the distance, and this will go 7.
Who are you picking? You picking
Tampa. Tampa wins game 7 on the road in Raleigh.
Whew. All right, I'm saying Tampa in 6 again.
They win at home.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna go to be different. I do think there's no stopping Tampa, but Carolina as the home team, it's hard for me to bet against them. I think it would go the distance. But if it does happen, we will if Carolina wins and goes to the Stanley Cup final, we will have a former Arizona Coyotes goaltender matchup either way in the Stanley Cup final, which would just be quite a story. I mean, it's already a storyline that there's potentially it's already a storyline in the West.
There's 4 of the last 5. three of them are Coyotes.
It's potentially a storyline that 3 of the 4 goalies in the conference finals would be former Coyotes goalies. So I want to see that happen immensely.
It'll be a story on Go PHNX tomorrow too.
Oh,
look at that! Look what you did. Unknowingly walked into that one, or maybe knowingly because you guys talk more and plan more, and I don't pay attention. It's true.
You know, Craig always has. He's always 2 steps ahead on gophnx.com. So if you want to read Craig's stories and more, we'll also have video content coming soon behind the paywall. Be a member at gophnx.com. Sign up for an annual membership. Get a shirt when you sign up, like the one strategically covering Petey's computer in the back there, Cody the Coyote.
Yep.
You can if you want to try just month to month, you can get your first month 50 cents, and becoming a member also gets you access to the members only Discord, where we are pretty much daily chatting with everyone. It's a good time. So sign up to become a member. Craig has some awesome stuff coming out this week at gophnx.com. Let's just address the elephant in the room, which is the fact that Craig is going out of town this week, which of course means that the Tempe City Council will be making a decision on the Coyotes arena proposal. I've seen some comments about it already from Robert earlier. We will have coverage, even though Craig will be in the mountains. He will be calling us, hopefully, to react to whatever the decision is. Petey might be on the East Coast. It might be midnight. He'll be on alert. I'll be on alert. We'll all be on alert. We'll have coverage. We'll still have somebody attending Tempe City Council for boots on the ground coverage of it as well. It's a big, big week for the Coyotes and for their future in Tempe. So
can we stop talking about the arena like soon? Or that this is just...
I sure hope so, buddy. You know, there's my dog barking in the background. I don't do anything about that when I'm talking. But, you know, both the city of Tempe and the Coyotes are seeking comment from people on the arena proposal. Of course, this brings some of the knuckleheads from out of town who don't have enough information but believe that they are, you know, informed enough to comment on the situation. I've seen so much bad info out there on Twitter, like from people from out of town. Oh, this should have happened. Oh, Glendale, if the Coyotes had done a better job, Glendale would have fought to keep them. Well, they did. Actually, they tried to sign them to a long-term lease agreement, but the Coyotes wouldn't agree to that. So if you're going to comment, at least come with facts. And I know the people watching this are probably Coyotes fans, so they're probably a lot more informed than some of the knuckleheads out of town. But if you don't come with facts and you decide to comment on Twitter, you might get shot down by someone, including me, because...
Yeah, I love when Savage Craig comes out on Twitter. And speaking of having the facts, if you haven't listened to the story yet, it does tell the entire story of the Coyotes in Glendale and what happened. And I think what's really great about episode 3 of the story is you really do get to hear both points of view, the Glendale point of view and the Coyotes point of view, and just how damaged the relationship became and why. So listen to the story if you haven't already. Subscribe to it wherever you get your podcasts. That was just the first series of the story. There's more to come. Kirsten's working on 2 different stories right now. I won't give it away because she hasn't announced it yet, but really excited for what's to come on the story as well. Any final thoughts for today?
That's all I got, Petey. I know you got to, don't you, buddy?
Should we tell everyone where you're going? Like what's happening?
I think, can we do that? I'm fine with it. So
yeah, let's tell everyone.
People do know I have another job, that I work for ESPN, and turns out I am headed to the Eastern Conference Finals all the way through the Stanley Cup Finals tomorrow. And as people also know, I am very high anxiety. I do not know where I'm flying to tomorrow and for how long and what kind of weather I'm going to have. And if people travel often,
this doesn't bother you. You just roll with things.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So flying into New York City is much different than flying into Raleigh-Durham. They are very 2 different vibes. They're very different cities. This is going to be 2 very different days. I just don't know which one I'm going to have tomorrow. So I'm bouncing off the walls right now. I don't know what I'm going to do. But for PHNX, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping to be able to provide most of the live content that I am now. I'm hoping to make all of these live shows. And when I can't, we're going to pre-record some really fun stuff on the road in some of these cities, whether it's New York, Carolina, Tampa, all the way to the finals to Edmonton or Colorado. I've already talked to the guys at DNVR. We got a lot of plans. If Colorado's in the finals, I'm actually going to finally be at the DNVR bar. There's so many fun things that we're planning for over the next few weeks. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But once I get to where the hell I'm going, it'll be much better, because right now it's not good.
We have to have a Petey on the road vlog.
Oh, yeah, it will start tomorrow. Like it may start tonight.
It may start tonight when you're packing.
When I'm
like
booking. When I'm booking my flight.
The game is in triple overtime. You still don't know.
Can you
it's
imagine?
like 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. and I catch a 5 a.m. flight to LaGuardia. Oh shit. Yeah, anyway, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Craig's gonna be out of town. Leah's gonna hold down the fort at home here at this PHNX studios. But I think the content is going to be as good or better, or exactly what you're accustomed to. And if it happens in Coyotes, it'll happen here.
And don't worry, because we're still providing coverage 5 days a week, 3 live shows a week, 2 audio episodes a week. Like we said, Petey will try to join when he can, and we'll hold it all down for Tempe City Council. Yes, and Craig will be here at minus when he is in the bush somewhere. Before we head out, just a reminder, the former Coyotes players in the playoffs, we don't know from tonight. Could be the Carolina Coyotes, Max Domi, Jordan Martinook, Tony DeAngelo, Derek Stepan, Antti Ranta, or for the Rangers, it could be Dryden Hunt. And we already talked about the matchups in the West, and Riley Nash made his return to Tampa Bay. So, it could be a former Coyote will win the Stanley Cup this year. That goes without saying. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching, for tuning in live. We'll be back live on Wednesday with JP Major, who was the strength and conditioning coach for the Coyotes, to talk NHL scouting combine, which is going on right now, which is awesome. So we'll talk to him, and we have another Trade Talk Tuesday audio episode coming out tomorrow, where we dive deep down the rabbit hole of the Danny Briere trade and all of the ramifications of that one. So please like, subscribe, and leave us a review wherever you get your podcast as well, so you don't miss it. Follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes. I'm dangerously close to having to eat fake maple syrup live on this show. So if you want to see that, please give us a follow, as well as there's a ton of great stuff on our Twitter. And that's it from us today. Have a great rest of your holiday weekend, everyone. And we'll see you later this week.